Hey guys, welcome back to the next video. Here in this video, we're going to undeploy the existing deployment and we are going to use the no stage deployment to deploy your application. So we just can't stop delete it when the application is active. So we just go to control over here and then turn off the application, not the application server or the managed server. Just we need to turn off the application. Just go select the application and then force stop now, and this is going to stop your application. So now let's just wait for it to stop and then we can remove this deployment. Go back to configuration, so select that and click on delete. Click on yes, and then you will have this deployment deleted. All right, so now just activate the changes, lock in it again, click on install again, select the same EAR file version 1, click on next, click on next in the application as well, select cluster as the target, click on next, and then when you are finishing the settings, just select the last option in terms of source accessibility. So I will make this deployment accessible from this location. Now, what's the problem with this deployment is that, as we discussed earlier in our architecture diagram, this deployment has one issue. So if you just try to imagine that you are having multiple hosts over here trying to deploy this on multiple hosts, you need to have this path shared across all these hosts because it will take it from this location from WLS host 1, WLS host 2, WLS host 3. So you need to have this path configured. So this is very useful in case if your deployment file is a monolithic application, which means that your application is very heavy. And this also applies if it's your application is in extracted format, so it's not in a archive format, it is in a folder format. So in those situations, this kind of a deployment is very much utilized, and that's what we have seen on the hands-on video also. I'm sorry, architecture video also. So you need to make sure that whatever the server which is going to handle this deployment as a target should have this path available the same way, and then this file is available in the same way. If there is a difference, then you're going to get some error on that application server. Just click on finish now. Now you will see that we can also remove that file from your server folder of managed server 1. So you can just go to stage folder. You can see that there is no file over here because you undeployed it. So now let's go and activate changes now. So now that you've activated changes, it has gone to the prepared state. Go to control and get that application started. Please start serving all requests and then give a yes. So now if you just go to stage folder, you will not see that file because the file will be accessed by it. But then your application will take it and put it on this again. Same thing, it will put it on the user folder, WL user folder inside your temp folder, and it's just gonna use this application again. So that's so far the index class is not created because I've not accessed it. I can see that there is nothing called index.class. So the moment I access it, you can see that it will create it. So let's just go inside testing, open the URL. So now that you open the URL, now if you just go back and do the same command, you can see index class created at 232. So your time should be 232. So you can understand that still the functionality is the same, but then as it's not going to actually copy it to your stage folder, it's gonna like use it from this folder itself. So you need to make sure that all servers has this location available for it to to do the deployment from this remote location. So as I told you, it's useful for a large file, and you want to maintain it on a network, and you want to maintain it on an exploded file format, then you can use it. So let's just quickly undeploy this, and then I will show you um, the exploded format as well in this situation. So I'll just show you that as well. So let's just stop this. There's so many process, I know, right? And it just takes too much time. All right, so almost done. So let's just activate changes and then let's do this deployment one more time again. Now this time around we will use a similar path, but then we will use a exploded file format. So I don't have anything at this moment as an exploded file format, so we may need to create one. So what you have to do is like go to opt dumps ear, and then go to tele version 1, and within that you have that, right? So use jar-xvf and then the file name tele.dar. So now you can see that one of the things I want to explain is that how I modify the versioning information. Firstly, this var file, this EAR file has meta folder. In this application.xml, it's mentioned about this var file as well as the context root of the var file. Now, when you're browsing this application context, right, we are using this tele underscore EAR, right? So how it is defined within this file over here. So if I vi this file, you can actually see that file over here has the context root of tele underscore EAR. Now, this context root can be defined in two methods. One, it can be part of your meta-env application.xml in the root folder or the EAR file, or this context root can also be defined within your var file as well. So individual var file can have its own different context roots, or else it can be defined like this, wherein which it says the var file name and the context root to access it. So this is another method of specifying it. So you will see that there is a var file also in this. So let's extract this var file. Now let's just create a folder over here, tele.var, file exists it says. So move this televar in one folder back, then make a directory for televar, and then move the previous televar file into the televar folder. Inside the televar folder, we will extract this jar-xvf televar. Okay, so now you have extracted this folder. Now this folder, if you see the structure of this folder, you have the EAR file, you have the var file. So now you just have to do one thing only. You have to move this from version 1 to version.ear. So we have the extracted folder here. So this will have the EAR folder, in which you will have the meta-env and televar folder, and within the televar folder you will have all the JSP files and everything else. You extra have the tele.var as well if you want to deploy it. So that's the folder you want to deploy. So let's just do one thing. Move this televar. Oh, you don't need this actually. Move this tele v1 one folder back. Okay, so its folder already exists. So we just created tele v1 folder. So v1.par, move the tele v1 into tele v1 folder, and then you don't have to do all of this, because when I upload this to GitHub, it's gonna have all these folder structures, so we don't really have to do this. So tele v1.ear file folder, we will use it for this one, and I'm gonna remove the televar from the televar folder, so that it becomes a perfect folder structure. So now what I'm going to do is let's just try to deploy this as it is. So we'll just go over here to this folder, ER folder, and then you should see the folder here. So you can see that open directory. So this is being calling over here. Now this says it's open directory. What it means is that if you are planning to do folder based deployment, wherein which you have the exploded file format, where you don't have it in the archived file format. So it says EAR, but it is a directory. That's what we created. So if you see that actual EAR is actually inside this one, we just made it. If you just go inside that, you will get the actual EAR file. But we are not going to deploy this. We are going to deploy the folder structure. So folder is what we are going to deploy, which is going to have .ear, but actually it is a folder which we just created. So you can see that it is the folder. We were inside that. So we are selecting that, giving the next directory and then application, and then just the normal steps as well. And then here you have to give accessible from this location because it cannot copy. So you cannot actually do the stage method in this method because we are deploying a folder that cannot be done by the stage mode. Then click on finish, and you should see that deployment will be completed. Activate changes. Go to deployments, and you can see that it's a prepared state. Go to control. Oh wow, it's too much time. Go to control over here. Just gonna start all request. Yeah, so this is much faster actually. So this just browse that URL, and you can see that URL is loading fine. Now how this deployment is done? This deployment is done with exploded folder structure. And it is coming from here, from this location. So this is another method of deploying in a no stage mode. No stage mode is useful for this kind of scenario where you want to do deployment from an exploded file type or from a different location, but just accessible by your managed servers to pick up the files and process it on its stem folder. So in those situations, we use no stage deployment. Thank you again for watching this with patience. I'll see you in the next video.